I'd like to thank you all for joining today to learn how you can save money with an EV during our EV discount campaign. My name is Annika Osborne. I'm with Cool the Earth. We're an environmental organization with a mission to reduce carbon emissions and local air pollution. And while we are big fans of walking, biking, public transit, and carpooling, with our Ride and Drive Clean collaboration, we work to advance the rapid and equitable transition to electric transportation. I'd like to thank the City of Palo Alto Utilities for sponsoring this webinar and our August EV discount campaign. We'll be covering these topics today. And as you can see, we'll be going over a lot of information, but not to worry, we'll be sending a PDF of this presentation and a recording of this webinar in a follow-up email later today or tomorrow morning. And if any questions come up, feel free to ask them in the chat or raise your hand during the presentation. As you can see, we have two Q&A sessions. The first one will be more focused on EV discount campaign because that's what we'll be focused on for the first half of this presentation. Then we'll go into more general incentives for new and used EVs, and we'll have a second Q&A at the end. So launched in 2019, Ride and Drive Clean is a collaboration of nonprofit organizations, agencies, utilities, and CCAs, counties, schools, and businesses with the goal to greatly reduce carbon emissions by advancing electric vehicles. We're here to help you make your next car an EV. We realized early on that one of the biggest barriers to getting an EV is the initial cost of buying or leasing an EV. So we teamed up with Cartelligent, a highly regarded car concierge service for EV discount campaigns. At certain times of the year, they're able to negotiate special pricing on certain models, and that's when we run our EV discount campaigns. So with Cartelligent, we have literally helped thousands of people save thousands of dollars on EVs over the past 7 years since we've been doing this. I'm really excited about the 4 EVs that are currently being offered. The Hyundai Ioniq 5, the Volkswagen ID4, the Honda Prologue, and soon the Cadillac Lyriq. These EVs offer really great value. They're really fun to drive. They're super popular. So it's a really great offering. And before I introduce you to Jessica from Cartelligent, I'd like to just address the current situation. So we believe now is the best time to get an EV. The implementation of tariffs is causing a lot of uncertainty for auto manufacturers, which may impact future pricing and inventory of new EVs. And this is already trickling down to the used market. And then the federal tax credit or the clean vehicle credit is going away on September 30th. So now is a really great time to save on buying or leasing a new EV or buying a used EV. Yes, so with that news, I will turn it over to Jessica Karstens from Cartelligent. Take it away, Jessica.
Hey, thanks so much for joining us. Really excited to talk to all of you guys. Yeah, as Annika said, it's a really great time to buy an EV, buy or lease an EV. So let me tell you a little bit about Cartelligent first, actually. So Cartelligent is a new car buying and leasing service. We've been around for 25 years. We have offices throughout the state of California. And basically what we do is we help you opt out of the traditional car buying process. So instead of having to go to multiple dealerships, play games, let me talk to my manager, all of that stuff, we just take care of everything for you. So we find the car that you want, make sure that it's, color, features, options, make sure it's a great price. We can even help with your trade. I love this slide because this slide says somebody getting out of an EV and into a new BMW iX, which is a really popular EV. And one of the things that's great is there's so many EVs on the market right now that are really just amazingly wonderful, good cars. I myself drive an ID4. So I'm an EV advocate and I love the EV driving experience. And so Cartelligent can help you with any new car, including, gas and hybrids. But through our partnership with Ride and Drive Clean, we've been helping, I think so somewhere around 30 to 40% of our clients are getting EVs or PHEVs these days. So what we do is we partner with Ride and Drive Clean to offer set discounts on select EVs. So normally what we do is we charge $595 to the public for our service to go help you find the right car, all of that good stuff. Um, but because of this partnership, we're waiving the service fee on these four vehicles only. Now, we can help you with any new EV. And if you come through Ride and Drive Clean and you're like, I really want the Kia EV9, that's awesome. That's a great car. And we'd love to help you find that. And we're going to give you a discount on our service of $495. And we're still going to get you a great price. It's just not one of the featured cars in this campaign. So these are the four cars that we have featured. The first one is the Honda Prologue. This is a great car. It's one of the newer models. I think it's been offered in the last year or so. And we're finding a lot of people really like this car. It's also a really great deal right now. So if you're looking for a good size, well-priced EV, this is a really fantastic option that a lot of people don't think about. I think of the leads we've been getting since the campaign went live yesterday, I think about a third of them are for prologues, which is nice to see. So hopefully we'll get a lot of prologues on the road. Hyundai Ioniq 5. This is Cartelligent's top seller of all cars, including gas, including hybrids. This is our number one top seller across everything. It's a really great car. It has a lot of technology. I tell people my brother drives this car, and he's got a 17-year-old daughter who's been learning how to drive. And he felt really safe with her learning how to drive in this car because it's got so much technology and safety features. It's got a really great range, really strong pricing. Can't say enough good things about this car.
And I'll add that this car has something called bidirectional charging, which means that if there's a power outage, you can plug in an adapter and power up large appliances like a refrigerator for a week with the energy that's stored in the battery. And it's also great if you go camping, you can just bring, a portable induction cooktop, an electric kettle, and just camp all electric, which is kind of a bonus.
Volkswagen ID4. So I myself personally leased an ID4 2 months ago. And I will tell you that this price is better than what I pay as a Cartelligent employee. There's some really significant discounts in this car. I love this car. It says 300 range. Actually, it says 291. If I charge my car to 100%, again, 2-month-old car, it's at like 330, 340. So people tell me that that's because I drive like a grandma and that's why I get more mileage out of the car. But yeah, I highly recommend this car. And again, the pricing on all of these cars is very aggressive. The Cadillac Lyriq is not listed here because we're still negotiating final pricing with Cadillac dealers. But we're planning to have it added within the next day or two. So Annika will send out, if we don't make it to these slides, we'll send out an email letting you guys know about the pricing of the Cadillac Lyriq as soon as we get that finalized.
And I just wanted to jump in to kind of explain how this exclusive discount works. So during this discount campaign, Cartelligent is offering an exclusive discount of $2,500. That's whether you purchase, finance, or lease it. So in addition to that $2,500, if you lease it, you'll get that $16,500. So that brings it up to $19,000 off. And then if you get qualified for the loyalty rebate or the conquest rebate, you'll get an additional $3,500. Jessica, can you talk about? Wait, before we talk about loyalty and conquest, I just wanted to explain if you decide to pay cash or finance this car, it would be $7,500 plus that exclusive discount of $2,500. So that's $10,000 off. Yeah. Do you want to talk a little bit about the loyalty and conquest?
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I went too fast. I was talking about the cars and not the pricing. So as Annika said, the exclusive discount is what we've negotiated with the dealer on your behalf. So whatever the MSRP is as configured, it's $2,500 off that. The additional incentives are the manufacturer incentives that you get to take advantage of in addition to that. And so the 16,500 if you lease, and then loyalty means you have another Honda. So if you've got another Honda in your house, that qualifies you for loyalty.
And you don't have to get
Conquest,
rid of it, right?
what?
You don't
No,
have
you
to
don't
have
have to. You don't have to get rid of it. They just want to reward loyal Honda owners. Conquest means that in your house is a vehicle that they consider a competitor. So I don't know the complete list of what the conquest rebates are for Honda, but we can find that out for you and make sure that we get that uploaded someplace.
All right. All right. Do you want to talk about kind of how the campaign works, Jessica?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is how it works. You're going to go to the Ride and Drive Clean page and fill out your information. And if you click the button that says, yes, I want Cartelligent to call me, you can also click no, keep me updated on future campaigns. But if you click the button that says, yes, I want Cartelligent to call me, one of our advisors is going to reach out and just have a conversation with you. No pressure, just, hey, what are you looking at? What do you like? What colors? What's important to you? And we can have a frank conversation about which car of the ones that we're offering might be best for you. Or again, if you're interested in something else, we're happy to talk about that too. You'll talk about what your preferred trim, color, and pricing and stuff is. And if you want to move forward, we will go and search for cars on your behalf. So you don't have to. You can say, hey, thanks for all the great information. I'd like to go to a dealership and do it on myself. And that's fine. But if you want to use us, take advantage of our expertise, we'll do it all for you. And again, we're not charging a sign up as long as you're doing one of the 4 cars. So there's really not much to lose. We'll come back and we'll hey, here's the options we found. Obviously, it's pre-negotiated price, but we still have to go find the car, right? So we've got participating dealers that we're working with, and we're going to find out, what cars match your specifications, and come back with options for you and final pricing. And then you're going to say, great. Hopefully, you're going to say that's amazing. I want to pick it up in Menlo Park. I want to pick it up in Walnut Creek. I want to pick it up in Sausalito, and we'll arrange for the car to get moved from wherever it is now to the office that you want it to pick it up at. You'll sign your contract, pick up your EV, and get a personal car tutorial that shows you how to do it. One thing that's worth knowing is EVs can be a lot, especially if you're coming from, a non-EV. So our team is always happy to do second tutorials, to do, FaceTime tutorials, or just, answer any questions that you have. So don't feel like you have to know everything in the first year, because there's a lot of technology if you're not used to it.
Yeah. That's great to know, Jessica. And also there are great YouTube videos for all EVs to how do you set the computer for when you want it to charge and all that good stuff. So yeah. All right. So I was going to just talk a little bit. This question comes up a lot when we do these webinars. Should I lease or buy? So we kind of just made up this new slide recently just to kind of go over some of the benefits and, so that you can, of each, so that you can sort of determine which one is right for you. So there are some great lease deals available now, and that's because of the federal tax credit. It's being passed along into the leases. So that is why we're seeing some amazing lease deals right now. When you lease an EV, there are lower monthly payments, and there are no restrictions on that federal EV rebate. They just pass that along to anybody who leases. You can upgrade to newer models every few years. This is EVs are newish technology, so a lot of people want to lease to see what it's like, and they think the technology is moving quickly. So after 2 or 3 years, they're happy to get a new car. So there is an option to buy the EV that you've leased at any point during your lease. So that's something to consider. And then at the end of the lease, you just return it and there are no resale worries. That just goes into the used market for somebody else. One thing to consider is there are mileage limits and fees for excess wear. So I think, that's something you can determine when you're leasing your EV, if you want 10,000 miles a year or 12,000 miles a year. I don't know. I think 12,000 might be the most common one. Is that right, Jessica? Or
Most people go 10 or 12. Some of them offer, like my ID4 is 7,500 miles because I don't drive that much. Um, I think that's the lowest you see typically. And 15 is kind of the highest you see typically. Some people go up to 18. Um, just depends how much you drive.
So if you buy an EV, there's a higher upfront cost, and your month if you decide to finance it, your monthly payments will typically be higher than if you lease an EV. There are no monthly payments after the loan ends, and then you have the car. There is an income cap for the federal EV rebate. So I mentioned that there's a rebate on a couple of these EVs. And I think it's for what is it? For the Ionic. Gosh, we were just talking about this, Jessica. For the Ionic, no, for the Prologue, there is no, no. I don't know if I think it sounds like both of these, yeah. Neither of these two EVs that qualify for the federal tax credit um, have income caps. But in general, there are income caps for the cars that qualify for the federal EV rebate. You can drive unlimited miles, and there may be long-term cost savings if you keep it for many years. There is the resale value risk, as the battery tech evolves and, with EVs and such. So how to get started? I'm actually going to go off this slideshow and just go straight to our EV discount campaign. And before I even start talking about it, I'm going to just throw this link into the chat so everybody knows exactly where to go to sign up. So if you go to the Ride and Drive Clean website, you go up to Save Money and EV Discount Campaign. Then you'll see this page. So here you can review the 4 EV that we'll have the fourth one up in a couple days, but the EVs and the pricing and all the information here. And then you would sign up. And as Jessica mentioned, there are two options. Like if you're ready to go and you want to get an EV in the next month or two, you probably want to click this, yes, I know what I want. And then you'll fill out these forms, select which car you're interested in, and you can put in some notes here like, oh, I have a trade-in. This is the car I want to trade in. Or, if you have any other sorts of questions, make sure you hit the submit button. And, there's some more information here, some details and some other great EV and plug-in hybrid deals listed here. So basically, that's how you get started with the discount campaign. And then, as we mentioned, somebody from Cartelligent will reach out within 24 hours. All right, so our first Q&A is coming up right now. So does anybody have any questions at all about the EV discount campaign, about any of the EVs that are being offered, about leasing or buying, or, anything related to, this EV discount campaign?
Somebody just asked me in the chat what the income caps are. And so it's single and married filing separately, 150,000, head of household 225, and married filing jointly 300,000. That's if you finance or pay cash. If you lease, it doesn't apply.
I'll be going over these after this Q&A, all of the different pricing and details on the discount campaign. Peter.
Thank you. I was wondering, when you put the potential savings, that includes those rebates below that you had on that same slide. Yeah, on one of those slides. So
Yes.
it says the total potential, that includes the cash rebate and the potential, or
Yes.
not? Are those in addition to the potential savings?
No. That's the total possible potential. So if you look at the math, it's, so it's the starting MSRP on this Honda Prologue is 47.4. The exclusive discount that Cartelligent has negotiated for this campaign is 2,500. If you lease it, you get an additional 16.5, and if you qualify for one of these, loyalty or conquest, that's an additional 3,500. So that's how we get up to 22.5.
And the cash discount also is within that 22.5.
So actually, if you pay cash or finance, so the discount isn't quite as good. It's 10,000. It's the exclusive discount for 2,500 and the cash finance rebate for 7,500.
I see. So the total for that would only be 10.
Yes. So, but if you
Okay.
lease, the total is 22,500.
Okay.
And that would be a use case where you would want to do the math, obviously, but that would be a use case where you might, even if you wanted to keep the car, you might want to lease and buy out the lease because of the more significant savings on the lease. So that would be something that your Cartelligent advisor could talk to you about what it would look like if you bought the car versus what you would look like if you leased the car and bought out the lease.
Okay. Thank you.
Somebody asked how you would negotiate the buyout price for a lease. It's literally just the math of the lease. All leases have a residual value, and all leases have a buyout that changes between the time that you take the car and the residual value, and it just kind of is a sliding slope down. So the less time you have in your lease, the higher your buyout's going to be, and then at the end of the lease, it's always the residual value.
I have a question. This is Chuck. If you wanted to buy out the lease right away, it seems there's an arbitrage there in terms of the pricing. Is that actually the case?
That's actually the case.
Interesting. Okay.
So some brands do make you wait 6 months, but the reason is the federal government. I'm not even talking about our administration. Like the people that wrote this law, I do not understand how they wrote this law this way. But if you as a human being buy the car, it looks at your income, it looks at where the car is made, it looks at all the other stuff. If you as a human being lease the car, you don't own the car, the manufacturing bank owns the car. And so none of that stuff applies. Don't ask me how that happened. I didn't write the law. It's just one of those things that you can take advantage of.
Yeah. By the way, the Ioniq 5 for 2025, if you look on the IRS website, it actually started qualifying for the tax credit, $7,500 tax credit in May.
Yes. Yeah, that one qualifies for the tax credit. I'm going to be going over all the EVs that qualify for the tax credit in my next set of slides, for sure.
I have a question about the loyalty rebate. You said if you previously have a Honda, are you talking about on Honda EV?
Doesn't have to be any Honda. And actually, I believe on the Honda, it's any car. The Conquest is any car newer than 2011 counts for the Conquest.
Okay.
So you're pretty much everybody's going to qualify for that one.
They're pretty much, because I said I have an old Honda sitting in the driveway that I have never got rid of. I was just wondering how far back it goes for that.
I don't know the year on the Honda, but if you have anything 2011 or newer, you would delete. And you can't have both. They won't let you do loyalty and Conquest. You can do one or the other.
Okay. Thank you.
Sorry, I'm trying to get through a lot of these questions. How would one negotiate the buyout price for a lease? Oh, you already covered that one, didn't you?
Yeah, it's part of the math of the lease. So you can call at any time and say, what's my buyout? And they will tell you a number, and it's just based on the math of the lease.
Great. So Linda has a question. The campaign ends August 31st. Can the state grant be applied? And what if that backlog delays that grant? So are you talking about the Drive Clean Assistance Program or the Clean Cars for All, Linda?
I think it was a Clean Cars for All that you applied to the state for. And it's an income eligible specific one. But when we talked last week when we met, you were saying that a lot of people are applying and that they may be inundated. And that's why I was wondering, what if you don't hear from them? Even though I applied a week ago, but
you did apply already?
Yeah, I did. I applied immediately, but I only heard one confirmation that they received it. That was it.
Yeah, we're not sure how long it takes to get those grants. I'm hearing several weeks, and I think there is a backlog because it's a pretty new grant program. So we will be, while we're offering this discount campaign with these 4 EVs this month, we will be offering another discount campaign in September. We don't know what cars will be on that discount campaign, but you would be able to take advantage of savings in September as well, but it could be different EVs. And
Okay.
we won't really know which EVs will be offered until about September 5th for the next campaign. Just because there's every month, every manufacturer has different pricing every month. So it takes Cartelligent some time to kind of work through the pricing and negotiate these special discounts. So yeah.
Thanks.
We will be discussing used vehicles and, incentives available for used EVs. That's in like the second half. This first half is about the discount campaign, these 4 vehicles mostly, and like any questions that you have. So just to be really clear, I do education for a nonprofit organization. I'm not involved in the purchasing or selling of the EV. So I don't really have great information about that, but Jessica does. So if you have any questions related to leasing or buying or residual value or anything like that, definitely this is the time to ask Jessica. So yeah, somebody is mentioning some of the Chevy, like the Chevy Equinox has really great pricing. I think right now that's like actually the lowest priced EV in terms of starting MSRP, and they do qualify for the federal tax credit. So I would say, yeah, those are great. The Chevy Equinox, the Chevy Blazer are definitely great options. And I think a good idea is to go test drive the cars to see which one you like. I mean, it really comes down to personal preference, like how you feel sitting in the car, if you like the dashboard, if you like the technology in the car. So I think it's a good idea to, check out a variety of EVs and certainly the ones that are available on this discount campaign, because the pricing is going to be really, really very competitive on these EVs.
And obviously, if you like the Chevy, we can absolutely help with the Chevy or the Kia or any of the other ones. It's just not part of this campaign. And no matter which EV you're looking at, I would absolutely, I would look to buy now or as soon as possible. Because right now what's happening is manufacturers are pushing EVs because they know that demand is going to settle through a certain amount once the 7,500 is gone. And what's happening is that the rest of the country is not that interested, and California is. And so we're benefiting from, very aggressive programs offered by the manufacturer, in addition to the exclusive discount that Cartelligent's negotiated. So it's a really good time to buy. What could happen, and I don't know this, and I don't know which cars it's going to happen with, but what could happen is that we start to deplete supply. And so they're not going to negotiate, they're not going to be offering as good programs potentially in September. Certainly on the cars that are, diminished supply, there's going to be less incentive for them to discount. So just something to think about as you think about whether you're going to buy or lease now. Normally, I don't say anything about when you should do things. In this case, the federal government has really put a gun to our heads that makes it important to move now if you're looking at an EV. My lease wasn't up until October, and I decided that the best thing for me was to get out of it now so that I could take advantage of the 7,500, take advantage of the discounts. I just didn't trust what the market was going to be in October.
So it looks like there are still questions about leasing versus buying. And I'm just going to say, personally, I had always purchased EV, bought cars in the past. And then I think it was maybe 10 years ago, I actually wanted to get an EV, but there wasn't an EV that was right for my lifestyle at the time. So I decided to lease a Subaru Outback. And the reason I leased it is that the pricing was so good. It was like $199 a month or something. I'm like, perfect. So much less than if I were to purchase a car. And I knew that I was going to be getting an EV in the future. So yeah, I decided to lease it. It worked out great, low monthly payments. And I think there's a lot of emphasis right now. I'm seeing a lot of questions about why lease. There's just the lease deals are so good right now. And that's partially because of the federal tax credit and also because of some manufacturer rebates that are happening as well, that all get kind of stacked together. So if you're buying an EV that, and financing it, your monthly payments are going to be significantly higher than if you lease an EV. And really,
Annika, can I do like a 2-second overview of leasing?
Yes, please.
Okay. I'm going to make up an imaginary car that's $50,000. And I'm not even going to put the tax incentives in it because it's just going to make it messy. So imaginary car that's exactly $50,000. If you buy it, you're going to pay $50,000. In this imaginary thing, there's no negotiations, right? You're going to pay $50,000 plus tax, title, and license. And the tax is going to be on the entire amount of the 50,000. So whatever 50,000 times plus tax, title, and license is divided by, let's call it 5 years, 60 payments. That's what your monthly payment's going to be, right? Now let's say that you're going to lease the car. So let's say that the car is worth $50,000. It's the exact same car. And let's say that the manufacturer has set the residual value at $30,000. What you're paying for is the difference between $50,000, the price of the car, and $30,000, the residual value of the car. So you're paying for $20,000 of the car. It's like you literally are buying like a third of the car, right? So you're paying tax on $20,000. So it's $20,000 plus tax, title, license, et cetera, divided by 36 payments. And so you're buying the car. You're buying $20,000 worth of the car. And if you decide to buy the whole car, then you would be paying that $30,000. That's the rest of the car that you didn't buy. Does that make sense? I don't have a
YouTube video on hand about leasing, but I'm sure there are many available that you could find. Could you explain that one more time?
So if you're buying the car, if you're buying the $50,000 car, you're paying the $50,000 plus tax, title, and license. So tax on $50,000 plus the whole thing, and you own the car. No one's ever taking that car away from you until you sell it. If you lease, you're buying basically a fraction of the car. You're buying the first 3 years of value, so it's a 3-year lease. So you're buying $20,000 worth of the car, and there's $30,000 that you haven't bought, which is the residual value. There's no rebates in this equation. I'm just giving you like a flat out, like basic explanation of how leasing versus buying works. The way the rebates would figure is that it just makes the lease more attractive, because if it's a $50,000 car and you're getting $20,000 in rebates or $15,000 in rebates, it just makes that amount that you're actually financing. I mean, if you have $15,000 in rebates and it's a $20,000, you're basically paying $5,000.
I can take Jennifer's question.
Yeah.
So they don't all have the same charger, actually, charging port. So 3 of them do. 3 of them have a regular CCS charger, which is, you can go to Electrify America, EVgo, ChargePoint to charge your EV at this point. And we haven't really talked about this yet, but it's really good news for all EVs that basically every EV manufacturer is shifting to the North American charging standard, which is the same as the Tesla standard. So every EV will eventually be able to use the Tesla supercharging stations. And this is really, really great news because there are so many Tesla supercharging stations. And often when you arrive, there are like, sometimes you'll see like 12 ports. And sometimes when you're on a road trip on 101 or, the 5, you're seeing like 50 ports. So there are a lot of charging opportunities through Tesla. So the Hyundai Ioniq 5 actually has the native North American charging standard port, or the Tesla port. And so you can just charge there without an adapter. I will just say this up front because it is a little wonky. They have it on the passenger side of the car. And in order to very elegantly and easily back in and use the Tesla superchargers, it needs to be on the passenger side. You may be able to do it if you take up 2 spots or if you like angle in, but you don't need an adapter. For all of the other 3 EVs, they will be providing adapters. The Honda Prologue, so we're moving to this new standard, and I can get you detailed information on which ones currently are able to use the adapter. I know the Kias and Hyundais, Polestars, Volvos, Mercedes, a lot of EVs can currently use that adapter already. and many will be moving to that toward the end of this year. It's kind of a gradual shift to being able to use these chargers, which is really great. Only out of these 4 cars, only the Hyundai Ioniq 5 has the bidirectional charging. It's typically the Kias and the Hyundais and the trucks that have bidirectional.
What do you mean by the bidirectional?
We talked a little bit about this. So they have the ability, if there's a power outage, you can
Okay, yeah, I got
plug in that adapter, and yeah. So the energy goes both ways. Yeah.
Just might want to suggest to everybody, if you have Consumer Reports, take a look at the ratings on the vehicles you're looking at before you commit.
Yeah, that's always a great idea. I also think doing a test drive is a great idea. There are certain places around the Bay Area where you can go and, they have lots of dealers kind of in one row or in one area. So it's easy to test drive a bunch of EVs. We're actually, if you're down on the peninsula or in the South Bay, we are hosting an EV show in Palo Alto at Mitchell Park on August 23rd. And that will be kind of a one-stop shop, a place where you can come, talk to some EV owners and some dealers and see a bunch of EVs all in one place. I actually think we have that up on our events page. I'll share that in my follow-up email. I also know if you live around San Jose, there's an event going on the 19th of August as well, an EV event. So you can check out a bunch of EVs if you don't want to go to the dealership. And I will say, if you want to purchase your car through our discount campaign with Cartelligent, you can go and test drive at the dealerships, but I suggest that you don't go inside, because the minute you go inside, the negotiations will begin. And I'll just let you know, I have multiple friends and contacts who have gone through these discount campaigns, and they go in and they're getting, talking to the dealership, and they, have gotten a certain, lease price, and then they talk to Cartelligent and it's significantly lower. So that's in one case, one of my friends, it was $70 lower a month to go through Cartelligent. So she was like, how is this magic possible? And I'm like, well, we have these special discounts that we're offering.
Just one thing on the non-Tesla chargers. I drive an ID4, as I said, which is not on the Tesla chargers. And I'm not saying that the Tesla chargers aren't lovely, but I've never had a problem with finding a very nice charger that I can charge my car at. So yes, they're not quite as ubiquitous, but there's lots and lots of high-speed chargers for the cars that are not on the Tesla charge port. So I certainly, especially I personally can't charge at home, although I can charge at work. But if you are going to do 90% of your charging at home, I would not make my decision based on the Tesla port versus the non-Tesla port. It's a nice to have, but I certainly wouldn't decide against a car that I liked because I was going to have to go to an Electrify America instead of a Tesla charger station.
So Jessica is going to stick around. So if you have any questions for Jessica about the purchasing process or leasing process, please ask them in the chat while I continue with my presentation. So although early EV drivers paid a high premium for electric cars, today's EV drivers often save money. There are a couple reasons why. It costs far less to fuel an electric car. Fueling a gas car can be 2 to 5 times more expensive than charging an EV, depending upon where and when you charge it. Electricity prices tend to be more stable than gas prices, as we've seen in the past several years. We've also seen electricity prices go up significantly in California, but there are time of use rates and even EV time of use rate plans, which make it really affordable. In addition, maintenance costs are 40% lower for EVs. It's basically adding windshield wiper fluid and rotating your tires. And then there are lots of incentives available, and I'm going to be reviewing those now. So the federal tax credit is actually called the Clean Vehicle Credit. It ends on September 30th. So you have to have your vehicle by then. It applies in 3 ways. It is for purchasing a new EV, for purchasing a used EV, and for leasing a new EV. There are no restrictions when you lease a new EV. there are restrictions for the other two categories. I will say that the federal tax, it seems like a tax credit that you apply when you file your taxes, but that's no longer the case. It's available as an upfront rebate, so it's often used as a down payment if you're purchasing an EV, and there is no tax liability required. So that's kind of a new way of looking at it. So it's really an upfront rebate more than a tax credit. I'll go into a little more detail on purchasing a new and pre-owned EV in the next couple of slides. There are these state grants that a couple people have been inquiring about. There's the Drive Clean Assistance Program and Clean Cars for All. These are both grants, and Clean Cars for All is a retire and replace program. They are lower income grants, and you do need to have that grant in hand before you get your EV. There are also some local incentives. So if you receive a bill from PG&E, you would receive $1,000 if you buy a used EV. And depending on your income, you might even qualify for $4,000. And then different CCAs and municipal utilities have additional rebates. Like if you get your electricity from MCE or PCE, Silicon Valley Clean Energy, or San Jose Clean Energy, they have rebates as well. Many of these are low income rebates. A good idea is to check out this savings calculator so that you can put in your household income, how many people live in your household, and your zip code, and you'll find out exactly which incentives you qualify for. All right, a few more details on the clean vehicle credit when you purchase a new EV. It's $7,500 point of sale rebate. You get it at the dealership or when you're dealing with Cartelligent. No tax liability. As we know, it ends September 30th. These are the income caps, and that's based on your AGI from this year or your prior year tax returns. Only certain EVs qualify. Final assembly has to be in the USA. There are battery requirements. The dealer has to be registered with the IRS, and the owner can't be claimed as a dependent. These are the vehicles that currently qualify for the federal tax credit if you purchase or finance an EV. But almost all EVs qualify if you lease an EV. So there are no restrictions, there are no income caps if you lease an EV, but there are for the, so as you can see, the Honda Prologue, that's on our discount campaign, the Hyundai Ioniq 5 and the Cadillac Lyriq all qualify for the federal tax credit if you purchase. So for a pre-owned EV, it's a little different. It's 30% off the sale price, up to $4,000. You can see the income caps are different as well. They're half of the amount of the income caps for purchasing a new EV. And it's also based on, the AGI from the current or prior year tax returns. There's also a $25,000 vehicle price cap. Not to worry, there are many EVs out there, used EVs for under $25,000, and the vehicle has to be a model year 2023 or older. Again, the dealer has to be registered with the IRS. Cartelligent does not do used EVs, but we can recommend a used EV dealership if you would like. Just a little more information about the PG&E rebate. A lot of details here. You'll see these in the slides when I send my follow-up email. So next steps. So if you are ready to go, if you're interested, you're going to want to, thanks for putting in the that link. So yeah, we think it's a great idea to sign up for the federal tax credit here, message everyone. Sorry, to sign up for our discount campaign now. I just put the link in the chat, and you can sign up to have Cartelligent contact you within the next 24 hours or to hold off. Yeah, if you do sign up, the Cartelligent will reach out. We've already talked about this. It's a great idea to go to an EV show or go test drive a couple of EVs so that you know which EV is going to be the best one, for your lifestyle. And you can always attend another webinar. We don't have any webinars up on our events page right now, but we do have a couple coming up on August 19th and August 22nd, so you can learn more. I might even throw another webinar in there for next week. Yeah, we have that Palo Alto car show at Mitchell Park on August 23rd. You'll find that on our events page. So we want to thank you all for attending this webinar. I'd like to thank the City of Palo Alto Utilities for sponsoring this webinar and our August discount campaign. We hope that you make your next car an EV, and we're going to give you an opportunity here in a minute to pledge to make your next car an EV. Our biggest ask really is please don't buy a new gas car because it will be on this earth emitting lots of emissions, pollution, climate change emissions, greenhouse gas emissions for the next 12 to 15 years, and we need to stop doing that as quickly as possible. So Sue, I'm going to address your question. Toyota does not show on your list. Yes, Toyotas do not qualify for the federal tax credit because probably they're not manufactured in the U.S. and maybe there are battery issues, so they don't qualify for all of the requirements. But you could probably get a great lease deal on these cars because there are no requirements if you lease an EV. So getting a level, that's a good question, Sue. For most people, a level 2 charging station is not necessary. I am not really covering charging so much in this webinar. I do that much more in my other webinars. This one is more focused on the discount campaign. My August webinars will have more information about charging. The average driver in the Bay Area drives 25 miles a day. So you really don't need a charging station if that's the case for you. You can just plug your charger that comes with your EV into a standard outlet. And even that, I did that for a year. I had a grounded extension cord and plugged it into an outlet that was not overloaded. You kind of want to make sure that's the case. Works out great for most people just to plug into the standard outlet. If you drive more than 40 or 50 miles a day, we recommend that you get a charging station. I think there's this fear in the beginning. I know everybody I talk to is like, oh, I have to get a charging station if I'm getting an EV because there's range anxiety. But for most people, it's a little different. If you are able to charge at home just into a standard outlet, you can just replenish what you used every day. So for me, and I'll give you my example, I have solar at home. So I just set my EVs to start charging at like 9 a.m. every day. And I have one level 2 charger and one level 1. So I kind of switch my cars around a little bit. But my level 2 charger, I'm basically charging like an hour every day. And with the level 1 charger, I'm charging like 7 or 8 hours a day, just depending upon how much I drove it. So it's very different from like the gas station model where we would, let our car go down to 1/8 full and then go and fill it up all the way. We're really typically keeping our EVs between 20 and 80% at all times to protect the battery. All lithium ion batteries are better at 20 to 80%. When you go on a road trip, you can crank up your charge to 100%, but it's recommended to keep it between 20 and 80% most of the time. Also, just to let you know, the time of use rates, it depends on where you live. I know we have people from all over the Bay Area, maybe all over California on this webinar. For people who receive their bill from PG&E, if you get on the EV time of use rate, it's between midnight and 3 p.m., and it's half of the price of charging your EV during that time versus 4 to 9 p.m. So it's like 33 cents a kilowatt hour from midnight to 3 p.m. So most of the time, but 4 to 9 p.m., it's like 66 cents a kilowatt hour. So we have a rule in my family, like make sure you are, we set the computer in the EV to stop charging at 3 p.m. because I don't want to be paying so much for the charge. How do you know what features you would want from a base model to a higher price models? It's kind of, the trim levels are very similar to trim levels of gas cars. It's like extra safety features, certain leather seats versus cloth seats, some upgrades like that. So those are basically the differences in the trim levels. Yeah, so, dealers can certainly offer the $7,500 discount on a lease. It just depends upon whether they're willing to do it. And the dealers that Cartelligent works with are willing to do that, so that's for sure. Well, it's some of the EVs listed. Carolyn is asking about cash discounts. Some of them are offering special discounts. Here, I'll go back to, let's see, let me share my screen real quickly. So as you can see here, with the Ioniq 5 and the Volkswagen ID4, they have a cash or finance rebate. So 7,500 off for the Ioniq and 5,000 off for the Volkswagen ID4. And that's in addition to the exclusive discount, which in the case of the Volkswagen is 6,500, 2,000 for the Ioniq 5, and 2,500 for the Honda Prologue. We're waiting to get pricing on that Cadillac Lyriq. Sorry. The best deals that we're seeing, these total potential savings, they're all with leasing.
So is the federal rebate in addition to, say, the cash finance 7,500?
That's a good question.
Because I asked Jessica, and when I asked in the chat, Jessica said that, like on the Honda, the federal rebate was the cash finance rebate. So
yeah, I don't think that's the case. So this is how it works. It's a little different. So both the Honda Prologue and the Ioniq 5 qualify for the federal tax credit. There is an income cap for the federal tax credit. So if you choose to buy the Honda, it has the clean vehicle rebate for $7,500. So that means that your income has to be beneath the income cap. But with the Ioniq 5, they're offering anybody, like no restrictions, a $7,500 if you pay cash or finance. There's a little bit of a nuance there. So essentially I could have put clean vehicle rebate here, but for the Ioniq, but because they're not restricting it to people with a certain income cap, I just put cash or finance rebate there. But for the Prologue, you do have to be under that income cap to get that $7,500.
But that is the federal rebate, each of those, either the clean.
Yes, exactly. They are both the federal tax credit. Yeah, the clean vehicle credit. But one of them is going to be following for the Prologue, it's following that income cap. But for the Ioniq 5, there's no income cap.
Okay.
Yeah.
But again, and if the cost of the lease is $20,000 and you get a $15,000 rebate, so you're going to be paying $5,000 divided by 36, basically, monthly.
Say again.
So if like in her example, the lease cost $20,000.
Right.
But you get like $15,000 rebate incentive, then are you just paying $5,000 over years?
Yeah, I'm not the lease expert and the purchase expert. That's Cartelligent. So it all depends on your credit score. There are lots of variables that go into your lease pricing, but we're seeing some great lease pricing at about $250 a month for people who have great credit.
But then you get your $15,000 up front, basically.
Well, it's kind of worked into the leasing equation. That's why, normally it costs like $500-$600, more money to lease a car. So that's all worked into this.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why the lease prices are so low right now. But yeah, Cartelligent can definitely help you with a plug-in hybrid Toyota. Toyota also has a fully electric model. They'll give you a quote for any car. I guess they cannot sell Teslas or Lucids because they have a different purchasing method. You just go directly to the dealership or their website to purchase. But all other EVs, Cartelligent can help with. Are there any other questions? Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. And wherever you are in your journey to an EV, again, we think now is a great time to get an EV so you can take advantage of not only our discount campaign, but also the federal tax credits before they go away. And have a great afternoon, everyone.